Alrighty, time for the real video, guys. Time for the real video, though. I wasn't just gonna leave it to that. I just figured I'd do something fun real quick. But before I get started, guys, by the time this video is live, I will be live on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Shokio. I'll be playing some Smash Ultimate, doing viewer matches. Anyone and everyone is welcome to hop in and play with me. Just make sure you guys read the rules. Link will be down below in the description, but that's twitch.tv/Shokio. Make sure you guys follow me because I'm pretty much always on Twitch. But here are my full thoughts on this whole Prime 4 situation. And this was legitimately the first thing I saw when I woke up this morning. I checked my text messages, of course, and then I went to Facebook, and the very first thing I saw on Facebook was the video Prime 4, and I watched it, and I was devastated. I was absolutely devastated. You guys know I'm a huge Metroid fan. That is like my favorite gaming franchise, period. It's not Smash. No, it's actually Metroid. And of course, I was super excited to play some Prime 4 soon. You know, maybe not this year for sure, but at the very least, I was expecting to see it this year. You know what I mean? Considering it was announced 2 years ago, I was like, for sure, surely, we'll at least see like a gameplay trailer this year, if not in a direct, most definitely at E3. This game has to be coming out 2019 at the earliest, maybe late 2020 at the latest, probably. You know what I mean? But apparently that's not happening. For those who still may not know at this point, although I'm sure most of you guys do, Nintendo has had development issues with Prime 4 with their new team that they had working on the game. And it's been so rough to the point where they are actually scrapping it all together and restarting it with Retro Studios. I'm sure the original team is still going to help out, but for the most part, based off what they said and my understanding, Retro's kind of taken the reins of the game, you know what I mean, the development of the game. And so there's some silver lining there. You know, that's definitely a good thing. I mean, all three Prime games are great, just amazing games, especially, you know, the first and the third in particular. So, you know, giving it to the tried and true, you know, don't broke it. Don't fix it if it's not broken, you know what I mean? That studio, which is Retro, you know, that's a good thing. Now, granted, yes, a lot of people who worked on the original Prime games are no longer with Retro, but there are a few people there. You know, some of the Retro guys left and they worked on other games like Halo 4 and Record, just to name a couple. So I know some of you guys may bring that up, but at the same time, you know, kind of the flip side has happened as well. There's been developers from other talented studios that have also came over to Retro. You know, the same way some Retro devs have left to work on Halo games. Retro Studios actually has a couple of Halo developers over there as well. So they still have plenty of people who have the first-person experience, and there are some remnants from the original Prime games that are still there. Not to mention the guy who directed the previous Prime games is still going to be directing it. He's just going to have the actual original studio with him as well, so there really isn't much that can go wrong here, right? Giving Metroid to Retro is like giving Halo to Bungie. You know, you can trust that. They're not going to ruin it. They're not going to screw it up. You know what I mean? It's freaking Bungie. It's just not going to happen. It's like giving Uncharted, you know, back to Naughty Dog. If Uncharted somehow left Naughty Dog or something, like you can rest easy. You know what I mean? So there is no downside to this game going back to Retro whatsoever. And them being Retro Studios aside, I am excited that a Western studio is working on this in general, because working a Western studio working on this will increase the chances of it having online multiplayer. You know what I mean? And that's kind of one of my high hopes for the Prime 4, is to have that Metroid Prime Hunters multiplayer that was on the DS, because anyone who played that can tell you that multiplayer was fun as hell. It was amazing. And Western developers are just a little bit more inclined to include online multiplayer in their games than Japanese developers, for sure. That's the reason why I'm saying that. So, not saying it's guaranteed. I'm not like, you know, getting excited, getting my hopes up, but it definitely does make me feel a little bit more confident in that game having online multiplayer. I always thought that Nintendo needs a premier first-person shooter, online multiplayer first-person shooter, and what better franchise would be a better fit for that than Metroid? You know what I mean? So, super bummed, you know, that I'm not even going to be able to see it soon. You know, and it kind of raises the question, is this game even going to come out on Switch? You know, considering the fact that they are restarting development and they're basically starting from ground zero with a completely new studio in on this, it's like it might take 4 years to get this out. Like it legit might take 4 years, and it's like by the time it's the end of the Switch's life cycle, 3 years at the earliest, but 3 years will still be at the end of the life cycle. Would it even be worth putting on the Switch? You know, should they just go ahead and develop this game for the next system? For me personally, guys, and again, I'm a Metroid fan, so obviously I want this game as soon as possible, but at the same time, it's going to take so long. I really wouldn't even mind this coming out on the next system, honestly. And I know that might sound crazy for you guys, but if this game comes out and the next system is going to be launched a year and a year and a half later, I'd much rather them just, at that point, just go ahead and wait and give it to us on stronger hardware. You know what I mean? We'll have a more beautiful looking Prime. We'll have a better running Prime. Not that I'm saying that I don't think it could run well or look beautifully on Switch, you know, considering how good Doom looks, and that game was not made for the Switch in mind at all. I'm sure a ground up game for the Switch, made by Retro Studios of all people, will look and run pretty amazing. You know what I mean? But again, you know, if it's within that 1 year time frame or year and a half time frame, the next system coming out, should they just go ahead and put down the next system? Imagine a new Nintendo system launching and a Prime game is a premier launch title. That'd be something else, but Nintendo kind of has to think about that and kind of balance that with, well, it'll also be on a much smaller install base. Granted, being a launch title does increase your chances of having higher sales, but by the time we're like 3 years, 4 years later, I'm imagining the Switch is gonna be like, I don't know, maybe like 70 mil, honestly, and that's a huge install base. So I think it's just going to depend on whether or not Nintendo wants to take that risk, which one they're going to prioritize. Either way, you know, I'll be accepting of either route they choose, whether they want to keep it on Switch or on the next console. That's fine by me. Just in general, I am bummed that it's not coming out anytime soon and I'm not going to see it. Happy that Retro has it back. Like I said, happy. It's definitely a good thing. It's going to increase the chances of it having online multiplayer. They gave it back to the masters. You know what I mean? But damn. You know, and it's not like I'm bummed out because like, oh man, what are we going to play? We're expecting to play that this year. Like, no. There'll be tons of Switch titles to play in the meantime, so it's not even a matter of, oh man, we have to wait to play something great. It's just we have to wait to play Prime 4, you know what I mean? Like, And this is why Nintendo has had a history of, not really announcing games unless they had gameplay to show. This is why they do it. I'm surprised they did it with Prime, but I don't know. I guess they just want to announce something more exciting. But devs definitely have to stop announcing games too early. You see what's happened with Crackdown, you know, Kingdom Hearts 3, lots of Square Enix games in general, you know. And now we're seeing it with Prime 4. For me, and this is how I operate, if a game is taking too long to come out, I'm not really going to be hyping that game up until it's close to release. You know what I mean? This whole time, I have not been hyped about Kingdom Hearts 3, but once 2019 hit, I'm like, okay, now I can kind of get excited for Kingdom Hearts 3 because I could basically feel it in my hands. You know what I mean? But for Prime 4, I'm not going to be like, oh man, I just can't wait for Prime 4. I can't wait to see what it's going to look like. What's the story? I can't do that for 10 years. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to have to shove Prime 4 in the back of my mind until they basically show it. You know what I mean? That's just the way I operate. I can't wait too long for a game at 100% hype capacity. So I'm going to be at like a 10% hype capacity until they show it again. And then I will probably go back up to like 90 and not even 100%, because when things like this happen, when there's like major delays and stuff like that, that really does kill my hype. And even for like my favorite franchise of all time, just kills my hype a little bit. I'm still going to be excited for it. I'm still looking forward to it, of course. Of course it's going to be a day one. Obviously. But this definitely has taken some wind out of my sails. I'm not going to flame Nintendo for it. I appreciate it, I appreciate the fact that they are handling Prime 4 with, a level of respect, and they're treating it like it's sacred, as they should, because that is one of their sacred franchises. You don't mess around with a prime title like that, a real one. Anyways, we're not talking about those potato wedge soldiers. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm not even gonna mention that game by name. That game doesn't even exist to me, as far as I'm concerned. But they're handling it with care. They said that it wasn't reaching the quality that they wanted it to, so they're like, you know what? We're gonna start over. We're gonna give it to the tried and true studio. We're gonna give it a retro. We're gonna do this right by the fans. I appreciate that. So I'm not angry at Nintendo at all. I'm not bummed at Nintendo. I'm bummed that it's gonna take us a long time to get the game. But I do respect Nintendo for the decision. I'm not mad at them in the slightest. The only thing I'm kind of knocking them for was announcing it so freaking early. But outside of that, like I said, I respect it. I wouldn't want my favorite franchise, and especially the Prime franchise, to just be handled haphazardly. And that is definitely something that's admirable and something other developers should definitely look into doing, especially a lot of these more Western ones. But that pretty much sums up my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm pretty bummed out, but like I said, there is some silver lining. There are some upsides to this. But like I said, guys, I will be live on Twitch streaming some Smash Ultimate by the time this video is live. So go ahead and go over there and check me out, guys. Feel free to ask me questions. I'm always talking to the chat and just chilling with you guys and interacting with you guys. So catch me over there. But that's it for this video. I'll see y'all later. Peace.